Hi guys, my name's Ian with Iron Cross Fitness. Today we're going to be talking about a strict muscle up. Now today we're going to be breaking it up into three different parts. We're going to be talking about the pull-up, we're going to be talking about the false grip, and then we're going to be talking about the dip slash support. In this video we're going to be talking about the importance of each position and how to strengthen each position if you're not strong enough yet. But I'm going to keep the intro very short and we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so first part of doing a muscle up is obviously the pull-up. We're going to start on a bar and we're going to be learning close grip pull-ups. There's a couple of reasons for this. First being it teaches you how to keep your hands together and it teaches you how to pull straight to your chest. A good gauge I like to use is just using your thumbs and stick them together, and that should be the distance you want to keep your hands apart. You obviously don't have to keep your thumbs like that, you can go like this, but I like to keep them there just to keep the distance and just because that's how I do it, it's out of habit. And that should look like this. Again, we're going to use our thumbs just to keep the distance, and that should be where your hand should stay. Then you're just going to pull straight to your chest. And again, that's just to teach you how to keep the rings close together and how to pull right to your chest. That's obviously a hard move. There's a couple variations we can do to make it easier. The first one I'm going to show you is using a resistance band, and you can just string it across a couple J hooks. Just like so. And what you're going to do is you're just going to stand on this with your feet, and it's going to help you do the pull-up and make it easier so you can focus on form. And that'll look like this. So again, use your thumbs to gauge distance for your hands. And you're just going to step on the resistance band, and then you're just going to do the same motion. It should make it a little bit easier for you so you can focus on pulling straight to your chest. So that's the first part of the muscle up anyway. Once you get used to that, then you can start doing pull-ups on the rings. But again, I want you to focus on keeping the rings close and pulling straight to your chest. Now we're going to move on to the false grip, which is the most important part of the muscle up, and it's also the hardest to understand. Okay, so now we're going to start talking about the false grip. The purpose of the false grip is it allows us to put our wrists on top of the rings before we even start pulling. This is also why it's very uncomfortable and very hard to understand, because this is not a natural position to be hanging in, but it is essential for learning a strict muscle up. When we go on to holding the rings, it's good to just practice with hanging rings. You can see that my hand is in this orientation compared to the ring. You'll notice that the ring kind of goes down through the bottom of my palm and kind of wraps around my wrist. And then it goes in between my forefinger and my thumb. Another thing you'll notice is that from the hang, our wrist should be at the bottom of the ring. This is because when we start doing the transitional phase, where we go from the hang to the dip, we want that part to be the bottom of our ring, because that's where we're going to be pushing from. To get used to hanging, I would suggest just doing like an incline pull-up, and then just trying to keep this false grip. Now you're not going to be able to straighten your arms all the way unless you're really flexible, but just get used to hanging here and just getting used to this position. Another thing is when you're hanging, you want to turn the rings towards you because this engages both your bicep and your forearm muscles. And that should look like this. Now when you start pulling, again we're going to do it like a pull-up, and we're going to pull to our chest, still keeping the rings in and close together. And then this will allow us to just rotate around our shoulder blades and get right under, and this is, as you notice, is the bottom of the dip. So again, we're going to start from an incline pull-up, keep the rings close together, and we're going to pull straight to our chest, and then like you're putting on a backpack, we're just going to rotate directly under our armpits and then throw our elbows behind us. One thing you do not want to do is rotate out this way. This will ultimately make it harder for you because now you're trying to pull at this angle, which is not a very strong position. Whereas this way, And you can just pull down like a tricep pull down through this motion and get your shoulders on top of your hands. And lastly, we're going to be talking about the dip to support. Now, if you remember, from the transitional phase, it'll leave you in this position here. Now, this is the bottom of your dip. One thing is if you can't get to this position, and let's say you can, but you're like here, that might be a flexibility issue, in which case I would suggest just grabbing a pair of rings and then just hanging in this position. Hold it for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds, and then just hang and get used to being in this position. So once we finish the transition, we're in the bottom of the dip, and then from there, it is just a normal dip to support. Now, one thing with supports is I'm already doing it wrong. As you notice, my rings are turned in and my elbows are bent. What we want to do is rings turned out, elbows straight, chest open. There's a number of reasons why we want to do a support hold this way. One is the other way, we're using mostly our biceps, and then we're leaning against the straps. It's putting a lot of strain on our shoulders. When we turn the rings, which is harder, but it takes some getting used to, it'll lock our elbows out, which takes all the pressure off our biceps, puts it into our triceps and our lats and upper back, and that's just a larger muscle group, making it a much stronger position in the end. Plus it looks better. So again, the position from the dip, you're just going to dip, and as you're coming up, you want to go rings out, elbow straight, chest open, and that is a correct support hold. Okay, so now we know every part that makes up a muscle up. Now let's say you're still not getting it, you're still struggling with the strength aspect of it. This is a good drill that I find works for a lot of my clients, and that is just grab 2 resistance bands, tie them to the top of the rig, and you're going to treat these as if they were the rings. So again, you're going to get into that false grip, making sure your wrist is at the bottom of the rings, and then you're going to pull, again, to your chest, treating it just like a normal muscle up. Make sure you're hitting every position and you're doing it with good form, because this is going to translate onto the big rings later. Another thing you want to make sure is that both arms and hands are moving at the same exact time. This just keeps everything balanced and even. So again, you can use any thickness of resistance band depending on how easy or how hard you want to make it. And this is just a good drill for getting used to going through the positions. And I'm not sure if you noticed on that last one, but I actually did something wrong. When I was coming out of it, I let my hands come out, and that is the wrong position you would need to be in. We want to really stress hitting every position and then coming down the same exact way. Okay, so I know it's a little dark in this part of the gym, but once you have finished learning every stage of the muscle up, the end product should look a little something like this. So again, we're going to get into this false grip, hang as much as we can, hold our chest, transfer over, and push up. So again, we want to come down the same way. And this is just to show you the movement again. And one more time. Pull, shoulders over our hands, and then push. Alright, well that pretty much wraps everything up. I hope you guys learned something out of that. I know this video is coming out a little late. I said I wanted to do videos at least once a week, and I think this is a little over a week. But once we start getting in the groove of things and you guys start sending me more ideas on what you would like to see done, hopefully they'll come out a little bit faster. If you have any questions, if you want me to go over any of the transitions I did, if you want me to come up with better drills or anything, leave a comment in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys. See you next week.